Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and another video. There's a lot to talk about, so let's play the intro and get straight into it. Yes, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and another video. Again, the late bat signal went up. The late bat signal was answered as he is doubly called by Mike, the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive. He's so dangerous, he might get a game up front. That's how dangerous he is. Neil Shah. Neil, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm okay. Thank you so much for having me on. No, not at all. Love being on you. On you? That's not right. Love being on the show with you. There you go. Love being so. It's a pleasure and an honor as always. You know that.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming on. And I mean, I've neglected it the last couple of days. I should have done this much earlier, but it's just so hard. I mean, the enthusiasm has been rightfully kicked in the proverbial gonads, as I would like to say. And I'm going to try my best to get something out with you, Neil, as we always do. So basically, the last time we were on, it was just after we had the draw with Liverpool, and we had the 3 games coming up. They're the 3 games we're going to talk about now. There he is, Finland's finest, Hente. He's joined in. Thank you, Hente. So, yeah, Neil, the first real game that we had was obviously Preston away. We won't get right bogged down into everything, but we went up to Preston with quite a strong lineup. Obviously, Timber started there, Saliba started there, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Moreno, Martinelli, Jesus, Sterling, Setford making his debut. What did you make of the game? And you can be as quick as you like here. You can be as long as you like here.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was such a respite from all the rubbish we were going through. We could actually sit there and enjoy some football, good football from us.
Just quick as well, you can slag off Sky as well if you want to. Sorry, I forgot to add that in. You're welcome to slag Sky off for this as well.
I always
slag I did.
Yeah, their new system of choosing a game and then you get an error code. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks. Whatever, 80 odd, 90 odd pounds a month paid. Yeah, great. Thanks, Guy. Missed the whole
due to bandwidth of all things.
Yeah.
We didn't think as many Arsenal fans would want to watch the game.
I thought I was streaming an illegal stream.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
You were pushing me towards doing it. Not that I do it. I'm everything I do is above board, Neil. But you're pushing me. You're pushing me to crime, Sky.
It was a joke. I mean, it was even buffering, and then I lost it completely. And then bizarrely, the weird thing is, the main box was not able to show it. I got it working on the mini box, which actually works from the main box. I'm thinking, with what voodoo is going on here? So I missed.
I had it the other way around.
You had it the other way around. How bizarre, right? How bizarre! It's just, oh come on, Sky. You're getting a lot of money from us. You sort it out. I think it's a good idea. We can choose a game. I think it's a great idea from them, by the way. But it's got to work. And we weren't the only ones, James. I'm on Twitter. There's loads of people saying they can't get a connection. What a joke! It's just not. Anyway, enough. Don't worry about the game. The game's more important. Yeah, I was just so elated because it's not been a very good time for us. So it was nice to get a bit of a change for seeing a young team generally that we've been crying for, especially Ethan. And how magnificent was he? But I was also pleased for Kiwior. He got 2 assists. Don't forget, Jesus got on the score sheet finally. And I thought, wow, hopefully this might be. I know it's only Preston, and I know it's only the League Cup game, but it might give the squad in general a lift. A real booster that we can actually score goals, and we can actually put the ball in the net after some creative work. But I have to shout out to, I know you'll probably have others, James, but for me, because I've been crying for him since day one, Ethan, I mean, oh my goodness me. I mean, that goal, it's just a worldie, isn't it? It's just a world. It's so reminding me of what Messi does. And I know everyone keeps getting bored of me saying he reminds me of Messi, but he really, truly does. The way he's so balanced, he's fearless, he's just solid. He's got a low center of gravity. He can just go through players. He wants to go forward and he wants to score, or he wants to make things happen up, at the top of the pitch. And he's got all of that in abundance. The only shame about the whole thing is I just don't think he's been utilised enough this season. Nowhere near enough. And I'll say it again, for all the minutes that I've seen him on the pitch, and that's not many, I still think he's been our player of the season. God. Yeah, we'll probably come on to that. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, James. I don't want to go too much into it. I think it's great. It was lovely to see Kiwior get involved because I think he's a useful player. I think he's a great squad player to have. I don't think, apart from that goal that he helped concede, he hasn't done much wrong this season. And that was the first assist is fine, but the second one for Havertz, I mean, all right, it's a great header. That's what Havertz is becoming a bit of a trademark for him. But that cross for him, that was a peach, absolute peach. Just elated, great, and I think we've got a really lovely tie next round with Crystal Palace. So it was a great night overall.
No, I'm with you on pretty much everything there. I mean, like you said, Martinelli whips in that free kick. Kiwior kept the ball alive, and Jesus followed it in. I mean, it was harder for him to miss than it was for him to score. And then, the second goal, the Nwaneri one, absolute perler, like you said. And yeah, I know people come at you for the messy things that you say, but it's a fair comparison because when he was a young lad, okay, he was doing it at a much higher level, but people forget he had Ronaldinho with him in that side. He had Henry in that side. He had other people that are much better than what Arsenal have got around it. But he's exciting, Neil. That's the one thing that you've said. He's exciting, and that's what this team is missing. This team currently, and we'll get onto it now, have no excitement to them whatsoever. And he's a live wire, and you need to get that into the team. And then, the third, like you said, from Havertz is a trademark Havertz goal. But I know you said about man of the match, and I know I do my little graphics, so I'll just pop this in there quick as possible. Yeah, Kiwior for me, 2 assists in a game. He got the man of the match for me for that one. And moving on from that, obviously, I spoke about it at length with Mike. You obviously did the pod with Jack at the weekend, the Newcastle game, Neil. Obviously, for that one, Partey at right back, Timber on the left, Moreno and Declan Rice, and Havertz in midfield. Didn't play Havertz up front. Can't understand why. Scores a header for you the day before, midweek before it. But yeah, you're moving him back into the midfield for some reason when you know that doesn't work. But hey ho, let's do it anyway. And just a terrible, terrible game. I mean, we always sit here and say we can take losing if it's a worldie or if it's a brilliant goal. To me, wasn't a worldie, but it's a brilliantly worked goal. I mean, the pass from, can't even remember the guys, Longstaff, that's it. I was like, I know there's 2 of them. Yeah, the pass from Longstaff into Gordon and then the cross and the header are superb. I mean, Gabriel and Saliba just normally don't get done like that. And he absolutely roasted both of them. But for me, Neil, just absolutely no ambition whatsoever from manager, let alone players, to turn that game around.
I don't know what the problem is. I mean, like you just said, it made a great point with the fact that that they'd seen what we were capable of. Yes, it was with a different team, and it was against again, all due respect to Preston, and not as a strong team as them. Newcastle obviously is always a difficult game away. We lost by the same margin last season to a very, very controversial goal. I have to say, this time I didn't see much wrong with the officiating in this particular game. It was just us. We were so completely bereft of anything. You go 1-0 down when you know that you're on the back of a bit of a bad run, and you'd think that the players would start giving their lives for it. But not only that, they'd have a bit of assistance from the manager to make the right call with maybe substitutions or positional play. I just do not understand. I have been lauding and backing Trossard from day one, very much like Martinelli, and you know that. Everyone who might listen to the pods that I'm on know that. But he's not on it at the moment. He's far from on it. And he should not be starting games. But yeah, you're right. Let's put Havertz in the midfield. Let's carry on with Trossard. Let's just do the same old thing. It's almost like I remember the olden days where we weren't doing so well, James, and you would be the first to say we could just literally put one of the other podcasts on repeat and it would be the same thing. And it's become a bit like that for me. I think it seems to me in the Premier League anyway, we've regressed 2.5 seasons, I'd say. And it's just so predictable. There is just nothing about us. And we are crying out for creativity. Thankfully, Odegaard may be showing some signs of coming back with his little cameo. But the problem is, we can't expect the world from him straight away. And we're up against another good team or another informed team coming up on the weekend. So he's had a chance to try something different with a youngster. He didn't take it, as far as I'm concerned. Let's bring him on, when it's already too late. There's no point bringing on a player who's young and who's trying to find his feet and establish himself when we're losing a critical game with about 5 minutes left of the game. It makes no sense to me. It's nonsensical. So I think his game management is not on the ball this season, hasn't been. I don't think his substitution, his playing management hasn't been. It's all been wanting, James. And that is why we're in the position we are. And the worst of it all is what you said as well. It's boring to watch. I was bored, I'll have to say. It just bored me. I was like, it was so predictable. Even my mum, let me just give her a shout. Even she was saying, she goes, I know nothing about football, but you guys are so slow. You got no hunger for the game. You don't want to score. And I said, well, that sums it up, really. She goes, we're flat-footed. And I'm like, Jesus, Mum. I said, where are you getting all this from? And she goes, but I don't know nothing about football.
Your mum weren't free tonight, was she? Should have had her on. Yeah. No, I agree. You know me, I agree with most mums anyway. Mums know best, in my opinion. They always have and they always will. But yeah, but with Newcastle, I mean, okay, he gave Nwaneri more than his 10 minutes. He brought him on the 61st. But for me, and I said it with Mike and everything the other day as well, just at half time of that game, to let them all go back out, I thought it was ridiculous. I thought after seeing that from Trossard in the first half, and even Martinelli, to not swap one of them at least, I was just like, wow, okay, really? I was like, really?
Even the commentators made a point of that.
Well, this is it. I'm like, what part of you? And again, I keep saying it, Neil. He will know more about football than I will know in a lifetime. But yeah, that's fine. I cannot see how you could look at that at half time and think those lot are going to get me out of this. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then the emphasis of that we need to get a goal, and he brings Zinchenko, and he brought on Jorginho in that game as well. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that they can thread a pass through a needle, but they're not. You need, like you said, you need pace. You need people that can run, that can move, that can give you something. And yet he didn't use any of them. He didn't. Okay, he brought Jesus on, but I mean, Jesus, yeah, he might give you the huff and puff, but he's not sticking the ball in the net. I mean, he got his first goal against Preston, which was his first goal since bloody January, and we're nearly in. We're in the beginning of November. It's ridiculous. I know the guy's been plagued by injuries, but I'm sorry, he's not good enough in front of goal to.
What's he paid to do? What's he paid to do?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. And normally, after a defeat like that, I just, I would love to get onto somewhere and just speak and clear my mind and everything. But obviously, I did the podcast with but like I said at the beginning of this, and like you said, they're bored in it. I just didn't have any enthusiasm whatsoever to want to talk about it, Neil. And this stuff's my life. Do you know what I mean? I love this.
It's definitely your life. I know that for a fact.
I love this stuff.
Yeah,
and yeah, I'm like, you're breaking me, man. You're breaking me.
If there's anyone who eats, breathes, lives football, it's you, James.
Yes. Sure. Yeah. Too much.
Yeah.
I wish I liked something else. It might cause me less pain. Do you know what I mean? I'll get into something else. But
sorry, I made the mistake of Nwaneri because I might be thinking of the last game. I'm getting all mixed up, so my apologies. Yeah, he got a bit more time. Fair play. He got a few more minutes against Newcastle.
But again, it was a case of I'm throwing you on in a situation. Say, why don't you start him with all these good players around him? Because it just it baffles me. But obviously, the main game that's come up, the latest one where we remember it the most out of all of them. Obviously, Inter. I know. Sorry, sorry. It's obviously Inter Milan away in the Champions League, and now hindsight for me is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I said with Mike, next week, the best we can hope for is 2 draws. Well, we've lost one of them. However, Inter Milan the other night rested 4 of their key players because they're playing Napoli, who are top of the league this weekend in a tight. That's basically the game that. So I was looking at it going, there's 4 of their best players out there. So if there's a chance that you could beat them, this is the chance. And 2 minutes within the game, Neil, they rattle the bar. I'm like, bloody hell. And it's Dumfries, who I said's their worst player from when I was with Mike the other night. I'm like, he's the one that you got to watch because he's the liability. Oh, mate,
he was one of their best players on that day.
Yeah, exactly. This is what winds me up. I'm like, all these ones when I watch, they're absolutely shocking. It's like the goalkeepers, Neil. How many times have you seen a goalkeeper? He'll let in 8 goals that week, 7 goals the next. He plays against Arsenal. He's Oliver Kahn. He's Oliver Kahn and Buffon all in the same person, isn't he? How many times have we seen it? I remember, what was it? Fraser Forster, the guy, everyone's going on about Gary Barlow's son at the moment and how tall he is. I remember Fraser Forster's like, he's a telephone mast, let alone a goalkeeper. And yet every time he played against Arsenal, save. Oh, used to do my bloody head in. Would infuriate the hell out of me. But again, speaking of goalkeepers, all of a sudden, I don't know where this has come into effect, but you can punch players in the head now if you're a goalkeeper. you can punch players in the head, Neil, and it's not a penalty anymore.
I don't know what to say. I thought at least the officiating may be a bit different in Europe, especially when it comes to us. Is it? I don't know. Is it the canon people don't like? I don't get it. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the most obvious and stalwart penalty I've ever seen in my life. He's not even punched him with 1 fist. He's punched him with 2.
Yeah,
it's double trouble. It's double trouble, but no, it's all right. He was going for the ball, so it's fine. So if a defender had done that, or our defender had done that, definite penalty. It'd been infield, definite penalty. But we're protecting the goalkeepers, so no. And it's Arsenal, so no, we'll wave that one off. That's fine. Yeah. It was an accident.
I mean, a lot of people enjoy Ali McCoist, Neil. I know a lot of people think he's fresh and he's fun. For me, I've always said, Ali McCoist, as much as he has a laugh and he's a, ha 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 and all of this, I will never take him seriously because he called Dennis Bergkamp's goal against Newcastle a fluke. So since then, and I was 10 when he said that, and even at 10 years old, I was like, wanker. So he will forever be in the wanker pile, regardless of what he does. He's in it. I could go out of my house. The bus could be coming out. I could be walking in the road. Ali McCoist could go, James, no! And save me from being hit by the bus. But I'll be like, thanks, Ali, but you're still a wanker. That's just, he's in the pile. That's just how it is. He's not leaving the pile. He's in the pile. That's it. He's there. So, but even he was going, they're reviewing it. So he sat there going, they're reviewing it. And they're both like, well, that's going to be a penalty, isn't it? Even Rio Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand.
I know.
They're all like, what? I mean, Rio after the game got a bit chirpy with Keown, but Keown weren't. Keown's not backing down as a pundit, just like he weren't backing down as a player. But I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that wasn't given. I was just wow. And then, when it rains, it pours, because the penalty they get. First of all, it's not the free kick for Martinez, and Martinez, for however good of a striker he is, and the amount of goals he scores and everything else like that. Oh, he was absolute shithousing the other night. I've never seen him like that, Neil, from when I watch Inter. He's never as bad as that. I don't know if it's because obviously Argentinian and Gabriel was Brazil. He was trying to get Gabriel sent off.
I think that's it. I think
all the time.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. 100%. Especially when we're having our many corners, he was really giving Gabriel a hard time. I don't know if you noticed a couple of them.
Yeah,
very. It was he was doing everything
with all this now.
Yeah,
you get booked because
he should have. Even the commentator said that. Surprisingly, the commentator said the same thing.
Yeah,
that it's a harsh one, and if anything, he should have got carded and booked because Saliba was going for the ball. He was just trying to get. It wasn't even a horrible tackle or nothing.
Yeah,
and So even I even would say the free kick was harsh, let alone what happens after that.
It was never a free kick in a million years, and yet, but and that to me being given as a penalty. Now, to me, I don't think it is. However, some of the vitriol that I've seen from the Arsenal fans, I'm like, well, calm down, because when I said the one against Shakhtar was beneficial to us, they all come at me, Neil. You know what the herd's like. They all come at me. Can you say that? You're anti-Arsenal with your agenda. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, no, I don't think that's it. I mean, it's worse than this one, because I don't know where Gabriel's supposed to put his arm. And if this is the case now, Neil, I believe, and people can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, I believe that penalties have gone from 84% of them are now converted to 86% are now converted. If I'm Arsenal seeing that, if I'm Arteta, if I'm any of those, but I'm going, when you get in the box, smack the ball as hard as you can at someone's hand. Don't go for goal. Just whack a player in the hand and get a penalty. Because is this the way it's going?
Well, probably. I mean, the interpretation of the rules are something to behold anyway, and the rules themselves are so flimsy, and you just don't know what's what. No one understands them fully anyway in the modern game, and that's why there's so much exploitation. But I just feel that, again, I'm not trying to make excuses and whatnot, but I just feel we get such a bad bargain. We're having at least one bad decision minimum a match. Yeah, okay. The Newcastle game it was probably the most, I think, fairly officiated I've seen in a long while for us. But other than that, I can't pinpoint a game where it's been completely clean for us in terms of the refereeing, and I just think that how can that be construed to be deliberate? It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I think the unfortunate for him, he kind of, when he reacted, when the ball hit him, his hand kind of opened up fully. So it kind of looks like he's trying to stop it. But if you take it in context, look how far his arm is away from where the ball is kicked at speed. And for me, when I was watching it, his hand was already in that position. It's not like he's gone to move it in that position for the ball to be stopped. It was already, as he was coming down, descending from his jump, his arm was already in that position. All he did was open his palm, which I think kind of maybe have helped the decision. I don't know. That's just unlucky. But I don't think that was a penalty. I think that was harsh. But it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been a free kick in the first place. So there's two things. It reminds me of that goal Newcastle scored against us, where there was three things that were all obviously to suggest that it wasn't a goal. This time, two things that obviously suggested it's not a penalty. It's given, and that it was hard enough. We're going through such a bad run at the moment in trying to be creative and put the ball in the net. Having going 1-0 down at that time as well, just before half time, as much improved as we were in the second half, I think it killed it. That was the end of it, because they are damn hard to score against, pretty much like we were this year.
Yeah, and that's a caveat that I will give, in that I don't necessarily think that we should be, obviously fuming with the loss. I can, but there are positives that I will take from that, because there is not many teams that will go to Inter Milan and give them a good. I think we gave them quite a good game. I do, and I agree with Keown. I think that they were so quick to discredit us. But the thing is, they've not lost at all in the Champions League all season. Haven't conceded a goal. They're my favourites to win it, Neil. At the start of the year, I do my predictions.
You said it.
Yeah, I do my predictions video with my mate Tom, and I'm like, they're going to win it, Tom. And he's like, really? I went, yep, because they're just so solid. And I mean, most Italian sides, they're known for defending, Neil. And to me,
that's their art, James.
Yeah, exactly. They got the goal and went, what are you going to do? Because I've seen a lot of people say how negative they were. But I'm like, well, the emphasis is on Arsenal. And Arsenal went, okay, we'll show you what we can do. We'll do 46 crosses. I mean, Neil, help me. Help me. What do you say?
And Saka, how many Saka? What, 20 or something? His numbers were
man,
as well.
Bless him. Again, he stood there. What more could I have to do, boys? What more do I have to do?
All the stats were in our favour by double and more.
Yeah.
Everything. Touches in their penalty box. It was just ridiculous numbers. And I think it's almost a bit not to that extent, but almost like when we went down to 10 men against City and we were winning, we had to shut up shop. And you're right. It's like they were the same. They're what we've scored. You're not going to get a goal now. But the only difference between City and this game was I actually saw it through. We didn't. We were unlucky. There was a couple of chances. Anything could have happened. I mean, Dumfries again was a bane for us. He was a pain and a bane in our backsides. And, there was a one off the line, and there was another one where, Havertz was unlucky, I think, a couple of times. We had chances, but end of the day, this is the competition we're in. It's on such a high level. Even the half chances we have to take them, James, because against a team like them and their ground, you're not going to get many. Against the big sides, you are not going to get many chances. So every one or every half chance you get, you've got to at least make it count. You've got to at least make the goalkeeper work, in my opinion. And I just don't think there was enough of that. It was all very well running down the pitch and getting these crosses in, cross after cross after set piece after set piece, corner after corner. But it's just coming to nothing. Have we been found out? Have they studied us to the way we do our set pieces? Well, the set piece coach got to go back to the drawing board and start thinking of new, different ways to execute them, because none of them were working, James. Not one. It was hard watch.
Yeah. And I mean, again, as well, obviously Namwari come on the 82nd minute for Trossard. Again, how Trossard got as long as he got.
That's where I got confused. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, again, Trossard getting as long as he got, and obviously Jesus come on for Moreno because they said, Arteta did the conference today, said Moreno didn't feel very well the day before, said to me he could play, and fair play to him. He had a good go that first half. He nearly scored. Well, should have got a penalty for being punched in the head, and then obviously gave the penalty away. But I just, again, before the game, they're showing Arteta making his debut at the San Siro for PSG as a 17-year-old. And he talks about how amazing it was to not only play in that stadium, but he's like, but that manager at that time to back me as a 17-year-old in the Champions League. I'm like, then back your 17-year-old in the Champions League, you moron. I'm like, for God's sake.
Exactly.
Because look it flew over, but he spun and took two players away with one movement.
I know.
That's what I'm like, I've watched Trossard for 82 minutes. He looks like, he looks like my dog that used to run through the snow. He's pitter patter like that. It's ridiculous, Neil. He does. He looked like a little Westie trying to run in the snow. I was like, I'll give up. And you know me, I love Trossard. But I'm sat there.
You do.
I'm sat there watching him like I used to watch Mkhitaryan, who, funny enough, come on for Inter Milan and looks like a player for Inter Milan.
I know, he's done all right. That's the joke.
Yeah.
It's just so ironic.
Oh.
I don't know what to say. Trossard for me is just not. Please don't play him on Sunday, or at least start with him, please. But look, if there's any chance of Odegaard starts or playing, he's going to play instead of, and Ethan's not going to get another chance.
I mean, I can't critique Arteta a lot for giving Odegaard 5 minutes.
No.
I know that I normally say if you're fit enough for the bench, you're fit enough to start. However, I can understand. I don't want to put Odegaard. Like when Thomas Partey come on against Spurs that time, got injured, and he was trying to push him back.
That's
and
right.
It was like, all of us were going, "You idiot! Why did you play him?
Why'd you do
you've hurt him again.
Yeah,
you've hurt him out for longer."
No,
I can see why with Odegaard not to do that.
Get that. Yeah. The 5 minutes he got is not in dispute. No. My point is this. Now that Odegaard might be coming back, I'm not saying he's going to play a full game on Sunday. We don't even know if he's going to start on Sunday, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But if he does, we know that now Ethan's chance is even more further reduced, and probably relegated now to the Cup or the League Cup, maybe not even the FA. I don't know. He's already had that opportunity to play him in Odegaard's absence. If Odegaard returns and he hits a vein of form straight away and things start turning around for us, Ethan's got no hope in hell. And I don't think that's right, James. I just don't. I really don't.
No. And I mean, for Newcastle and Inter Milan, I'll flash this up quick because we will move on after. But for me, man of the match, both games. I thought Thomas Partey was brilliant in both games.
He's been our best player recently, isn't he? Form player.
Yeah. For me, along with Raya and Saka, I think he's our most consistent player. Yeah. And if you said to me in the summer before a ball was kicked, James, you're going to come on here in November and say Thomas Partey's been one of our best players, I'd have laughed because I'd have gone, we're selling him in the summer, Neil.
Yeah.
We ain't keeping him.
He's been brilliant.
I mean, again, I don't know if this is a Thomas Rosicky special and he knows contract renewals. I don't know if the minute the ink hits the paper, he's just going to go.
I don't know. I don't know.
He is playing for that contract.
So Walcott used to do that.
Or a move.
Yeah, true.
Either one. He's doing it.
I love Theo Walcott. I think he's brilliant as a pundit, but he did that. He used to put some up his striking prowess just before a contract, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that. I hope it's not. But I think, whatever's been asked for him, he's playing in a position that none of us like. And actually, he hasn't even done bad in that position at right back. But, he's brilliant as I think I was saying it last season, even the season before. When he's fit and on form, I don't think there's a better midfielder in the Prem. I actually, in that position for what he does, I just don't think there is. He almost commands the whole of the middle of the field. For me, he dictates it. But I agree with you. I think he's been if there's any positives to take, two for me. We improved in terms of trying to do something for a goal against Inter rather than when you compare it to Newcastle. So that's an improvement. And I think you're right. I think we didn't actually play that bad against a team that is so solid in defence. And then number two, I think is Partey. It's him because can you imagine if he wasn't playing or he wasn't on form? I think the damage could have been even worse for us.
Oh God, yeah. And I'll tell you what I like as well is that he's managing him. It looks as though he's managing his body better, just from how he looks, and how he's playing, and as well. Ghana didn't pick him again for their international game, so he's getting 2 weeks off, which is massive. I mean, I know he's age-wise, he's coming towards the end of his career anyway, but he was their captain, so I'm very shocked that he's not being picked for, or if he's volunteering himself. Yeah, I mean, if he's going to himself, no, I just want to play for Arsenal, then I'll back him even further because, yeah, he does not need to be playing unnecessary international minutes. But is there anything else on Inter Milan you want to talk about, Neil, before we move on? Is there anything else you want to bring up?
I'm just trying to rack my brains after watching the highlights, if there was anything that came to mind. I mean, to be honest, apart from the controversies and the usual shenanigans we get with officiating, I mean, I know I sound like a broken record and I shouldn't focus on that because I don't want to sound like a fan that is just full of excuses. I will say again on your pod, James, I don't think we've been anywhere good enough to be fighting for the title, to be doing well in the Champions League. We have not been playing anywhere near the levels. I think we're two different teams from this season and last season, especially. Two different. I can't recognise us at the moment. I just don't recognise us. So there is that, and I'll admit it. But we have been so bamboozled by horrible decisions. It hasn't helped the cause at all. I just hope that things can start turning around on the weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Mike's still in the chat, so shout out Mike because obviously he sent this the other day. I should have loaded it into this so we could put it up, but he sent it the other day. It's Arsenal away in Europe this season. In 2024. Obviously, Porto 1-0 loss, Bayern Munich 1-0 loss, Atalanta 0-0 draw, and Inter Milan 1-0 loss. So we haven't, as much as all these people want to talk about us, Champions League, all new format, Real Madrid are doing bad in it, this team's doing bad in it. We can't go away and score a goal, let alone win. Not even winning. We can't even put the ball in the net abroad. I'm like, you can't even consider talking about winning it unless what you think you're just going to win it purely on home games? No. We've got to.
It's quite a damning stat, isn't it? It's a damning stat.
Well, in Europe, more so than I believe even in the Premier League,
yeah,
there is an echelon of tactical astuteness and even nastiness. And I'm like, you'll get a team that will go, we'll just kick you because we can get away with it. And we don't, any kind of cauldron-like atmosphere or when people get on you and give you a few boots in, Arsenal don't like it now. I've tried to say that this group is the much better in terms of what we used to have in giving a bit back, but they're not at an elite level of giving it. They're not like the Invincibles where, like I used to say, I used to say with the Invincibles, in the tunnel, they'd look at you and go to you, do you want a game of football because we'll beat you at that? Or do you want to fight or we'll just beat you up?
You that as well.
But they're like, you've got the choice.
Yeah.
The choice is on you because we'll beat you at both. Yeah.
I just wish I always say it till I'm blue. I wish I'd appreciated it more. I just took it as, yeah, this is us now, which is so great.
Yeah,
and
but this is what I'm saying about Man City fans. I've got a Man City fan that I work with. Lovely bloke. He's going to me, don't talk about football. I hate it. I'm like, shock on. After all you've won over the last few, I'm like, I haven't won an FA. The last thing I won was an FA Cup for 4 or so years. Okay, Community Shields and everything. And he's like, nah, I'm sick of it. I can't stand it. I'm like, you've lost 3 games on the spin, and you're going, I hate football. I'm like, entitled. I said, you're entitled. He's like, no, I'm not. We used to be in the 3rd division. I went, you're spoiled. I said, you're sounding spoiled.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I just hope that I don't know what I hope for. I think we just got to. Jack said it brilliantly. He sent me
just score a goal. Yeah, score a goal would be nice.
I was so down. I wasn't going to do the pod with Jack, and then he just sent me a message the night before, and he said, he's in the voice note, just in a nutshell. I can say it now because I didn't want to steal his thunder for the pod. But he said, I gave him the opportunity to say, I said, I don't want to use your words, but essentially he just said, we got to forget title challenges. We got to forget everything and just take one game at a time and enjoy it, because we are, as fans, we're getting ourselves down so much. We shouldn't have to worry about all the stuff that the managers and the coaches are supposed to do. We should just be able to go into a stadium or sit down in front of a TV or wherever we were watching it and just enjoy a blooming game. Yeah, we can talk about it because that's what fans do. We can analyse things till the cows come home. But at the end of the day, what are we actually doing it for, James? We're doing it for enjoyment, and we're doing it to take us away from our crappy lives or our routines in our lives or whatever it is, a form of escapism. That's why we do anything which is a hobby. And I know I'm being probably not doing football justice, but it's more than hobby. It's part of our lives. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's still we've still become part of it, part of a family, to enjoy it, right? That's what we're doing. And I think at the moment this has become so horrible. I think Jack just said, let's just enjoy each game. Forget about the fact that we could have been winning the title or favourites for the title, because if we do that, we're just going to get disappointed too much. Just enjoy the game. Hopefully we play a good game. And as you said, quite rightly, score some goals.
Yeah. It's hard to enjoy it when what you're seeing is just turgid. Like your mum said, it's slow, it's ponderous. It's all of the above. And yeah, that just makes it really, really hard to enjoy. But something else, obviously, Neil, a lot of people are saying this feeds into it. I don't think it's that big, but obviously it's a big story. I'll load this up just quick. So there they are together. No more. Placed on his gardening leave now, Edu. We spoke about it, obviously, on WhatsApp. You had the news broken whilst you were doing the pod. It was great. It was like... I thought someone had passed away when you were both looking at the way you were both like, what? The faces was amazing. But yeah, I mean, for me, Neil, I've seen a lot of people say this. I've seen a lot of people say that. It's split a bit. For me, I look at it and go, there was a job there that he wanted. He believed that he was going to walk into it. That I can see as maybe an oversight or a problem on his behalf, because I'm like, no one's entitled to anything in life. But they clearly didn't think he worked hard enough to get it. And for me, most of the time in life, if you're leaving a job, you're leaving for money or you're probably leaving for power. And he's left for a job that gives him both. And for me, I think he's done a good job. I think they're the best two that we've had since Dean and Wenger, obviously. Easily the best two that we've had since Dean and Wenger, in terms of a partnership that's worked well to help strengthen Arsenal. But what more is there left? Obviously, winning trophies, but what else is there left for him to do? Because he's built everything back up to going to somewhere that's a multi-club model, and he's in charge of every single one. I don't see, he done it when he was a player. He left for more money, went to Valencia, got injured very early, and then he didn't play very much after that, and he probably regretted it. Do I think he'll probably regret this? Maybe not. But yeah, I don't understand the hysteria. There's so many people that are like, that's it, that's ruined the club now. We're going to be in. We're not. I don't think we're going to be in a massive decline just because he's gone. One, I think there's better sporting directors than probably Edu out there that we can attract due to the work that he's put in previously. And in business, they call them flight risks, where someone's done so much and that they get headhunted, and they get taken away. And that's what's happened here. And I just, Yeah, what do you think, Neil? I mean, where do you stand on everything? Do you think it's out of order? Do you think he's just done? Because I see a lot of people go, well, he owes Arsenal. I'm like, he don't owe Arsenal anything. He's done
No, I
what's
don't agree with
best.
that.
You know, in life, sometimes you got to, what is it? There's no I in team, but there is ME, and he's chosen himself. He's gone. I'm picking for me.
No, I don't think he owes Arsenal anything, and I think I was angry at the time because I think it was just because we were in such a bad rut. That's the only reason. I thought it felt like he was leaving a sinking ship almost. It's not a sinking ship, of course it's not. You know, we other teams in our league, I'm not going to mention names, you know who they are. They'll have a bad run. They might not score within 7 games and they might be like 13th, 15th, even lower in the league, but there's no crisis there. It's only us that are a crisis. If we even get one draw, we're a club in crisis nowadays because they just like to get us. It's not so much that. I think it was just an emotional reaction from me, and I was like, you know what I was saying on the chat, which we can't repeat here. So from that, I'm sure everyone.
You can if you want to. I've called Adam McCoyster wanker, so you can say whatever you want.
No, I'm not going to do it. But you know, time is a wonderful thing at times, no pun intended, and actually, exactly what you've just said there makes complete sense. I wish him well. Whatever, and yeah. End of the day, if the club decide to stick with Arteta, he knows what Edu has given. He knows how it works. He knows if Edu was part of the vision, he shared it with him. So it's not like both of them have gone, both of them have left all of a sudden, and there's going to have to be a new manager or coach and a new director of football come in and almost like learn exactly what was going on, what they left behind. Arteta is still there, and it's not going to be a case where it's not going to be the same as when Dean left, because Dean left and then they just left it for Wenger to deal with. That's not going to happen. We're going to get someone else in, as you said, might even be better than Edu, might even have some fresh ideas which could be, work in our favour, might even be able to come in and get us over the line of getting trophies as well. No one's going to moan then. Say someone comes in the next few weeks, we end up winning, the Prem and the FA Cup, Edu's going to be forgotten in an instant. He will. It's life. It's life. And because the fact that Arteta is still there, the foundation is still there for me, whatever they've built. And I agree. They have been the best pairing since Wenger and Dean, that's for sure. We had no structure up there. We had no football people up there. I think they were just all a bunch of corrupt crooks, as far as not all of them, but at least some of them were. And I think that was the demise. And that Wenger, bless him, he did his best, and actually he did a damn good job for what he had. He did a damn good job. But that follows on to another point, which you might want to bring up. Arteta has been backed very, very well. And my worry is, where is this going to leave? If we end up with nothing this season, where does that leave him? Where does that leave us? But I don't know whether you can bring that. I might have just probably your thoughts. Yeah,
he's got to go. If we win nothing, I don't know. I've said this 3 or 4 times now. If he wins nothing this season, for me, he's got to go. Because you've had 6 years.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
What do we have to? Because people will go, oh, what we just go like all these other clubs where we just hire and fire managers until it goes right. Yeah, because that's football now.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Yeah, Ancelotti won the league and the Champions League for Real Madrid last year, right? He's lost again. He got slapped in the Bernabeu by Barcelona in the Clasico the other night, and they lost to AC Milan.
Correct. And
they're looking at sacking him.
That's mad, isn't it?
Ancelotti won the double at Chelsea and still got sacked.
I know. Well, who was the guy that their ex-footballer at Chelsea won the Champions League and the FA Cup and he got sacked for Mourinho?
Di Matteo.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's going back a few years.
Yeah. Well, again, how much of that team did he manage? Because I remember that final when John Terry was on the touchline being the manager more than Di Matteo was.
I know, but it's just
no, I'm with you. No, I agree with you. Yeah. Sadly, the loyalty that we all have, that we apply from our own life into football now, it doesn't exist.
No.
It doesn't exist. And again, echoing what I said on Mike's podcast the other day, there isn't an Arsenal manager I want to do more than Mikel. But I'm like, what? He's got to have 6. He's going to have a 7th stab at it. He's going to have an 8th stab at it, a 9th stab at it.
Yeah, where'd you draw the line?
Oh, and then players are going to leave.
That's
because
I'm more worried about that.
And then I'm like, what? He's got to rebuild it again. The
Yeah.
good players leave, and then we got to go again and again and again.
Yeah, they will never get anywhere. No,
Well, this is it. I'm like,
I'm more concerned about good players leaving. That is my concern, because they've not tasted victory. Although they might have had a good spell of experience and maybe some very, very good coaching, and they've managed to learn their skills and enhance them possibly at the club, but they still haven't won nothing. So all their hard work, what is it all for at the end of the day? No one remembers second runners up. No one remembers all of that. They just remember the winning teams. Unfortunately, that's the way life is. And it might sound to people who might never have heard you and I speak, joining in, to suddenly popping in now, that we're trophy hunters. We're not trophy hunters. We are far from trophy hunters. But at the end of the day, we've got to be realistic as well. That to sustain a model of a good team, very much like the Cities and the Liverpools have done recently, we've got to have some consistency. We've got to have some consistency, and we've got to be able to show that we're challenging every season. When we're one of the ones being considered every season, not only considered, but actually putting words into action as well. And if we don't do it this season, I think I'm with you on it. I don't want to go all the way. I'm still kind of just hanging off the fence a little bit, because it's a hard one, because there is a lot of positive stuff that he's done as well. We were singing his praise. I was singing his praises all season last season, literally, apart from a couple of games. So, you can't just suddenly change just because we've had a few bad runs. And I see people on Twitter say, or the social medias, that, we support the team when we lose as much as when we win. And that's right. We do. We're a family. We do. We stick together, and we go through the bad times as much as that's, the olden days used to have good marriages till death do us part. They went through the bad times as well as the good. It's a bit like that with Arsenal. We're either married to them, they're part of our family, and we've got to support them when they're down. But when you're seeing that nothing is changing from game to game, where it can so easily change because you have the personnel to do it, that's very frustrating. That's more stubbornness from me, from the manager.
Yeah. And I mean, to get back on topic, obviously, when I was discussing it in the group chat that we had for the Purely, it was one of the only times where me and Jack actually didn't agree on something. It was quite entertaining. I was like, oh, we got a back and forth here. And he was saying to me he didn't read the article from August, so he actually apologised and said he didn't see this article that got posted, and it basically let into that Edu, especially with this summer window, felt that his power was diminished because he was very questionable on the signing of Calafiori. Well, not necessarily on the need for Calafiori, not necessarily the player himself, but on the need. And then he was very unsure on the Moreno deal. But, and like I mentioned in the chat, I think Arteta is so much better than probably Edu is at managing up as well as he is managing down. I think Arteta can play the politics because 2018, the Kroenkes got sole control. Basically, Stan Kroenke went to Josh, that's yours. I want to sit on my ranch in America and I pay attention to the NFL and maybe the basketball, and I do everything else, but the football's yours. I go every now and then, but in terms of an interest in it, do I really care? No. And to me, the way Josh has come and presented himself, especially after all that Super League debacle and everything else, he is very much like, this Arsenal club is my thing. I take ownership, and he, much like he did with the NFL team when they appointed their manager and they won the Super Bowl, he's like, Mikel Arteta's my man. So I think he will let Mikel Arteta have free reign pretty much on what he would like, compared to, I don't think he diminishes Edu in any way, but if Arteta goes, I want this, this and this, he will back Arteta in that situation over an Edu. And my problem, again, like you said there about Arsene Wenger, and I don't want to use this as a slander towards Arsene Wenger, but the fact that he was in the say-so to hire his bot, he employed Gazidis. I don't know what other football club, let alone football club, I don't know what other business where someone could appoint their own boss. That at that time, I was like, and I was much younger, I was like, that's mad. That is mad. And we got two comments here. So we got one from Hente, and he says, how do you see the future? More like a Michael Edwards, who's the guy who was at Liverpool, left Liverpool and has now come back, or someone like a former player. And then Russ has come in as well, and he's put, I just want the best man for the job. I don't want us to fall into just appointing ex-players, whether they are good candidates or not. For me, At the moment, Jason Ato's got the job, who was the second in command to Edu. So he's got it now on a temporary basis. I don't think he's going to get it permanently, Neil, because I don't think he's got the pedigree. He's not a name, is he? Arsenal are, take the bias away, but we're one of the biggest clubs, not just in Europe, but in the world. If we're going to sign a player and we need someone to negotiate or to speak to a family or whatever, say, pick me a footballer, Neil. Just pluck me a footballer that you would like. If we were to buy someone in January, who would you like? If you were just anybody.
I'm on board now with you and Jack and Michael.
Gyökeres.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Say we ring Gyökeres, we go, hi, it's Jason Ato. Who? Do you know what I mean? No disrespect to the guy.
It shouldn't be like that in life, but
no,
it is.
Yeah.
Because actually, there is one thing which is slightly different, or one example which is so close to home. Who knew who Arsene Wenger was when he came, and look what he did.
Exactly.
So he's an example where someone has been given a chance, a relative unknown. Everyone was like Arsene, even the players like, who's this? None of them, no one knew. If anyone turned around and said, yeah, we knew who he was, they'd be lying. I don't think I've never met anyone who knew who he was. So he's a little bit of an exception to the rule. So maybe giving an unknown or not a non-name a chance, and actually if they do an amazing job. But life, you're right, is not like that. We will not attract the big guns. We won't. It simply won't work.
Yeah.
So agreed.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we saw today, not the best of sources that come out, but they said about Thomas Rosicky, they said about Per Mertesacker. Now, obviously, Rosicki's got experience doing it at a much different level. Bit like Edu. Edu didn't have it. Corinthians are a big club in Brazil, and obviously he was part of the Brazilian FA's selection process and everything else. An ex-player, obviously invincible, double winner, etc., etc. Thomas Rosicky, much adored player. People love Thomas Rosicky. I don't know necessarily in terms of the work he's done, but I understand the link. Mertesacker, for me, I look at what he's done for the academy, and if you were to ask me to pick between the two, I'd go for Mertesacker personally. And I know Mertesacker he's not got a big name value, maybe outside, but there's something about Per Mertesacker to me in terms of even love it. When we had that doldrum period where I was just like, I don't really resonate with any of these players. They all get on my nerve. Like, I'm not a fan of any of them. For me, I was like, he's an Arsenal man, though. He gets it. Per Mertesacker gets it. And the rest of we need the rest of, like when Ozil didn't want to clap when we lost to Man City, and he dragged it. He went, "You fucking go over there and you clap." Mertesacker for me, and they had the documentary about the academy, and just the way he was with parents, with everything. I'm like, that guy has got and Edu was, I never had any interactions with him, but I know people who had plenty, and they said he was so charming, he was nice. He was personable. He was warm. I think you get that in abundance with Per Mertesacker as well. And for that role, that is what you need to be. I know the guy from West Ham's been linked as well. He's an ex-player in Germany. He was a defensive midfielder and everything else like that. And he's done a good job for West Ham, obviously getting the 100 million out of us for Declan Rice and then reinvesting that. I know that he's in trouble for the players that they've bought this season. They're not very happy with some of the signing. But, Edu if you put all the signings up, Edu had a lot more possibly misses than he had hits. Most of them were hits, but he had a few misses as well. So, yeah.
I think Mertesacker, when you reason it like that, makes sense not only from his character traits, but he knows the club. He's been working there for a few years. He knows how it works. I know he's focused on the academy, but he must know the general ethics and how things work and the culture within the club itself and how the hierarchy work, how everyone peers work. Everyone works, even down to, the people in the kitchen and the people who clean up, everything. He knows it all. He lives and breathes it because he's working with the academy. So in that respect, there's a lot of ticks boxes for him to be that person in that role. But at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to see who comes in, because it's still a bit of a bit of a hit and miss in terms of who we might think might do it. It's a bit one of those, isn't it? We just don't know. We might even get surprised. Wenger might come. Can you imagine? Oh my god!
Well, stranger things have happened, Neil. Stranger things have happened, and I'm glad Ryan's put this in the comments. As long as we steer clear of Overmars, I'm happy. And do you know what?
Your tweet, mate. Your tweet.
Neil, one sec. Hold it in. There it is. There it is. I made that earlier. Mark Overmars. This is what people were going. Get Mark Overmars. Get Mark Overmars on the day in that morning. I was literally like, did none of you do your research? Because he got banned from Antwerp for basically flashing his knob at people he should have been flashing his knob at in text messages and everything. You know, there's no way to shirk around it. That's what he's been doing. You can't be flashing your knob at Gunnosaurus and running Arsenal Football Club. I can't have it. I can't. Antwerp begged for him to be banned, not just from their club, but from the whole of football, because they said he's a risk to women. And you want that at Arsenal. We might as if these Arsenal fans that are saying get over, we might as well have P Diddy. We might as well put Puff Daddy in. Because if that's the caliber of person you want at the club, we might as well go the whole hog and get Puff Daddy. What is wrong with you people?
Of all the potential victims, it has to be Gunnosaurus. That's the bit that's killed me, mate.
Nobody's safe around him, Neil. Nobody's safe. And he's one of my favourite Arsenal players of all time.
Oh, I loved him.
He's one of my childhood heroes. One of my childhood heroes.
Oh my god, together in the same team. Oh, it was a dream come true. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I had to blink at teletext sometimes. I thought, there's Overmars and Bergkamp underneath the name Arsenal scoring. Yeah. So minutes and this many minutes, and I'm like, and I used to look at it twice and think, is that real? I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So I love him as well, but
you can't, mate. You can't be going to Gunnosaurus and being a dirty and then doing Arsenal. I can't have it. I can't have it. And
only one thing now, James. I wish now you had that picture with your tweet, because that would have put the context.
Mate, I couldn't believe it. Like, honestly, my Twitter timeline was full. I'm like, how do you people not know this about him? I was like, he's been banned by FIFA, for God's sake. Like, he's not allowed in football. And yet they're all like, nah, get him in. I'm like, like I said a minute ago, go get Puff Daddy then. Go get Puff Daddy. If that's what we're going to, unbelievable. Unbelievable, mate. But going back on the football side of things.
Oh my God, stop.
Obviously, I know. I'm sorry. I knew I said to you you'd break. I apologise. Oh, we got Chelsea at the weekend, Neil. As always, done a lineup for this.
Okay.
Based on basically what he said today. So I've got David Raya in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Timber at left back.
Wow.
I've gone for Partey, Odegaard, and Nwaneri. Just play Nwaneri, Mikel, if you're listening.
Oh, I wish that was so true.
Play Ethan. Because the last time when you were in a bad spell and you played the kids against Chelsea, we got the result and they saved your bacon.
Yeah.
And then up top, I've gone for Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus. And the reason being I've backed Jesus is basically the cut that Havertz got the other night. I don't think he's going to be allowed to play. They said that he's obviously not trained today. He's coming in tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Rice has got a broken toe. He's not playing. God. If he plays Rice is going to get taken to England and play 2 more games. So I'm like, don't let Rice play. And then England hopefully don't pick him. And then you have him back after a 3-week spell. Hopefully by then his toe should be okay. I've consulted Jack and he said, yeah, 3 weeks to a month for a toe should be okay. So I'm going off what he's told me. So I just don't want to see. And you know me, Neil. I love Trossard. You love Trossard. I don't want to see him. I do not want to see him this weekend starting.
No way.
And Moreno as well. I'm like, take Moreno out if you can. Take him out the firing line, because that guy. People are saying he's the midfield version of Pablo Mari, which I'm like, oh please, this is. Do
you know what? I'm so pleased that I've seen that lineup from you with Ethan in there, because I thought I'd get laughed at for saying he needs to start on Sunday. So I'm so chuffed to bits that you've got him there. And why can't he play in that threesome with the other two? Why not? Why not? Especially as you said, we can't risk Rice simply because we don't want to risk him, even if he's okay. We don't. Yeah, but we don't want him. As you said, we don't want him picked for the stupid England games.
Yeah.
No. And we hope to God that they don't pick Odegaard to hit their games.
No, he's not. So,
okay. So that's great. Okay, that's great.
Which
is
great. Good because I'm like, that manager can swivel.
I think Martinelli is correct as well. Rather than definitely 100%. I like the team. I think that is the best that we can probably go with as a starting 11. And anyway, I don't know if you're going to kill me now, but I know he's not been the best. But I think if things are going well, I'd like to see Sterling come on at some stage as well because
he can't. He's on loan, Neil.
Oh, of course he is.
He's a loanee, so he can't play against Chelsea.
All right, well then that's fine then. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So then that's it. Then
that's another thing going back to the other night as well. You knew that Sterling can't play on Sunday, yet you still didn't bring him. You still didn't bring him on.
Yeah.
Because they were doubling up, so there was space.
Yeah.
Could have slotted. When there's space like that, you bring your fast players on, so it opens up. And yet he still didn't. But
my only disappointment with that lineup is Havertz because I'd love to see him getting a goal.
Oh, so would I.
I love it. I'd love
for him to score at Chelsea and celebrate at Chelsea.
Of course.
More than anything.
Well,
more than anything.
If he can't start and he's on the subs bench, do an Anweri and bring him on the last 3 minutes, and then he'll score, make it 6-1 instead of 5-1.
I don't know if he'll have to play in one of them Petr Cech helmet things.
Yes.
I don't know if he'll have to. I don't know. I just don't know because they can't do a butcher like all them years ago.
Do you remember with the blood through? That was mad, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, you can't do that anymore. There's too much CTE and everything. Yeah, you can't have that now.
That's when football was like rugby. You just kill each other.
I'm not trying to say we're a nanny state, but yeah, you're not having that now.
No, you can't have that. No, I like the team. I think that's the best we can offer. But I'm so pleased
balls and play. Just go for it.
So pleased you've gone for. I thought no one would say that. I was thinking I'm the only idiot that's going to say you've got to start on Sunday. Nope. No, great. That's great. Okay.
People go to me, Neil. He's 17. He's young. I'm like, yes, but I'm like, maybe because Rooney was a bit more stocky and chubbier per se. I'm not the slimmest lad, so I can say, this guy has not got a body of a 17-year-old.
No, he's
you saw him against Inter Milan. Sorry, not AC Milan. You saw him against Inter Milan. He spun 2 people straight away. Men, grown, hard defenders, and he made them look like they were dummies. You know when they put the dummies up for free kicks and all.
But James, think about it. We used to play Fabio. He's a twig compared to him.
Yeah.
So if anyone's going to get pushed off the ball,
like I said, Fabio Vieira still has Calmangate. So yeah.
God, I'll start again. Yeah. So
it does.
So if you can choose him,
he don't eat solid food, Neil. So yeah, yeah. At least Nwaneri, has meals. Yeah.
No, I agree.
He's got at least 2 proteins and a veg. Vieira ain't got none of that. Vieira had none of that, mate. None of that.
I like the team, James. Yes, let's go for it.
Yeah, just
and let's enjoy it, and let's get a goal.
You play Odegaard and him together.
Oh, don't.
I mean, if he's not going to start Odegaard, and Rice is out, and who else is he going to? If he does Partey, Moreno, Trossard again.
Oh, don't. That's it.
I will lose my head. I'll lose my head because.
And the thing is, there's a strong
you might. You watch Newcastle, and then and I've said it before. One of the worst things you can do, and I've had it in workplaces that I've been at. I'm saying it from experience. I know. I'm like, I can put 20%, 30% in because you're not going to sack. You're not going to put someone else in my job. I'm safe. So, and again, I think I'm not necessarily saying the players are down in tools, but there's definitely an element to it of who are you going to drop me for?
Yeah, I know.
Who are you going to drop me for?
Yeah, I mean that was always my worry with Saka because he's so blooming good. Who's going to come on and replace him? But the point is with Saka, he still produces game in, game out. Even though he's not got any real competition that might sort of make him, I'm scared. I need to even raise my game further. Yeah. But the point is with Saka, he still delivers. He still delivers.
Something, Neil, as well about Saka. You know how all of us used to sit and say, "Oh, I'd love it when Saka needs to get angrier. Wouldn't it be great if Saka got angrier?" I'll tell you what now, he is getting angry, but he's getting angry at the rest of them.
He is.
Again the other night, he's looking at as if to be like,
but you know what I think?
What more do I have to do?
But you know what's helped with that? Him being the captain for the short period of time. That's
100%.
He's taken
People said that would hamper him, but I'm like, no, he's loving
run
with it.
He's loving it. Oh, yeah, maybe.
That's not a bad shout either. Yeah,
George, I like Jorginho, by the way.
But just quick, Mike, to ask you that one, and now I feel like you're coming on the pod. Do you play Partey as an 8 then for that? Oh, or do you play Jorginho and Partey as 2 6s? Because you can't drop Partey. You can't. So I just I know we want to wrap this up. hopefully he's got his fingers on the keyboard already and he can type it straight away.
Or he might put Partey right back again.
Oh God. No. I hope not.
I'm not blowing Stoke up your rear end.
Okay.
Probably
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, but I don't mind that. But I don't want Trossard. And
no way.
Again, and it's not that I don't want Moreno because I've had enough and everything else.
No.
Get him out the firing line because he's taking too many. He's taking pelters at the moment and he don't deserve it. Bless him.
Look. I'm going to say one thing. I forgot to say it on Jack's pod. I have got faith in Moreno, however you say Mikel easier. I've got faith in him because I sat there and I was never on Kai's back in a personal way, but I never understood what his role was. And look what he became. So Arteta saw something in him. And if Arteta wanted Mikel, his namesake, he's seen something in him. And I think he's just, unfortunately for him, he's come into the club at a really bad time. So I think you're right. I think not because we dislike what he's doing or what he's not doing. It's just get him out the firing line. Let some of the more experienced players in that position against these kind of clubs and this situation take the helm, and then we can slowly sort of indoctrinate him. And we're going to see a good player in him. I've got faith. I think we're going to see a good player in him. I really believe that.
Same. But just to press you, Neil, just quickly, prediction, mate. What do you think?
I don't do draws or losses, mate. No,
go for it.
We got to get it back Sunday. We did it against them on Boxing Day a few years ago with the youngsters against all the odds. We'll do it again. Although it's away, 2-0. We'll win 2-0.
I love it.
Oh, I love it. 2-0. Yeah. and I'll, if you ask me, press me for a scorer, Ethan.
Again, I'd love that. I'm going to stick with what I said the other night with Mike in that I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1 again. I think like Man United last week, I think it's going to be another 1-1. And do you know what? I fancy us from a set piece again. So I'll go Gabriel like last season. It was last season Gabriel with a header, weren't it?
I think so.
Oh no! It was the draw last season. Sorry, where Rice scored the goal and Trossard got one right near the end. It was it was the one where their goalkeeper absolutely clattered. He done a 2-hand punch on on Jesus, didn't he? He punched Jesus in the bloody skull.
Well, my memory's not like yours, James, but yeah.
No, I know. I have to get there. I'll rack it eventually. Yeah.
I might have said a different prediction on the pre-early podcast, but I can't remember now. So I'll go 2-0. I feel a bit better now. It's Friday.
Exactly. All right, Neil. And just lastly as well, if anyone else wants to see more from you, hear more from you, again, like I always say, I know where you are, but where can everyone else
That's
find
all that
you?
matters to me, James. As long as you
Thanks,
know.
Neil. Thanks,
That's all that matters. And anyone else who wants to say hello to me, I'm always happy to talk to them on socials or whatever it is. But yeah, always an honour to be here and on all the pods that I'm invited on. So thank you to all of you for giving me that chance.
Yes, sir. And thank you very much for coming on. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Take care, as always. Enjoy the game at the weekend. And if you see Gunnosaurus, just be polite. Just leave him be. All right? Leave him be.